Sean Payton and George Paton talked to reporters this morning to give their final press conferences of the season. Talked a little bit about the game on Sunday, talked about, an update on Bo Nix, and then just a look forward into how they're going to be spending their resources this offseason. A lot to talk about today, and we're going to get started in about 30 seconds. DNVR Broncos Podcast presented by Bet365, where if you deposit $10, place a bet for $5, you get $200 in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. We are in the Xfinity studio today. Shout out to our friends over at Xfinity. Shout out to me, Henry, to you, Ryan. We got Zach here too. We got a lot to talk about today.
No shout out to him?
Wait. Shout out to Zach as well. Shout out to Zach. We were down this morning in, I don't know, we don't call it Dub Valley anymore. We just call it
Broncos Park.
We were in Broncos Park. Yeah, that's fine. I came back to do the show. Zach just won't leave that place though. And we've got him on the line to give us a little update.
Well, Ryan, thank you for making sure that Henry gave me that shout out. I was almost heartbroken back here. And let's give a little love to one of our other sponsors, Common Spirit, Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. How about that?
How about that? Imagine that. Imagine that we got you on the Xfinity mobile call-in line right now.
This is incredible, guys. It's hard to imagine.
It is so hard to imagine. What are you imagining down there?
Well, I'm imagining something that we talked about right before the show started, guys, and that is the biggest piece of news that I think we learned today regarding the franchise quarterback. Anytime there's news about Bo Nix, that's going to be the priority number one, the thing that we need to talk about right away. And I thought we found out a couple of interesting things about Bo Nix. First off, Sean Payton went out of his way to tell us that he had a predisposition to this injury and that it was a matter of when his ankle got hurt, not if it got hurt. And guys, I want to say from the context in which Sean said this, he did not say it in a concerning way. But when I heard it and I listened to it and I process it, I don't know how I can spin it in like a positive way. Like the when it happened was an awful time for it to happen, right? Killing the Broncos' chance at a Super Bowl run. And then also just a predisposition to this. We've already talked about how he's had multiple procedures to his ankle already. So that just, it concerns me. I don't know if Sean was trying to, I don't think Sean was trying to concern us. I think he was trying to ease us, and it did not do that for me. And the second thing about Bo, George Paton, we have not got a time frame from the Broncos on when he'll be back, but George kind of indicated May is when he could be back. It was not a hard deadline. It wasn't a deadline at all. He just threw out the first date that we've heard officially from the Broncos organization of May. That would mean he'll miss the beginning of the offseason program, but that he could be back for OTAs and all the on-field work. So I guess that's encouraging news from that sense, that it's not going to impact training camp.
I kind of think that when Sean says that, he's saying it in the sense of like, this is why it's so hard to see on camera. Like, we've all watched the play a million times. There's no exact moment where it's like, oh, that's where Bo Nix broke his ankle. And so I think there's a lot of like conspiracies and all sorts of stuff going around out there about what really happened. Now that we know that, it makes it make a little more sense that it didn't take some crazy impact or twist for it to break.
Well, it's a great point, Ryan, and especially because there's some conspiracy theories going on that he got hurt in the locker room. That is absolutely not the case. Talking to everyone or talking to a ton of people that were in the locker room and after, but also you can just tell from the way Bo Nix acts right after that game, before the final whistle is blown. So that's a really good point. That could be a reason why he said that as well. But we just hope that Bo's ankles are going to be okay moving forward. That's going to be something that we're watching all off season.
Was there any sort of indication given about, okay, well, now that this is done and he's had this surgery and all of that, like his ankle will be in a better place moving forward?
No, there wasn't any talk of that today, but I will tell you that Bo was in the Broncos facility today. I expect him to be here every single day of the offseason. rehabbing. Sean joked that he's so antsy that he was scootering around in places that he's never scootering or walking in the building. He's just trying to get some energy out right there. So he's going to attack the rehab strong, as Sean Payton said, and he's going to get back as soon as possible. And wait, really quick, guys, because we learned this from JK yesterday, JK was able to get back in record time. He asked for certain medical things for the Broncos, and they gave it to him. The Walton Penner ownership group gave it to him, bought it for the facility so he could get back quick. Typically a 4-month injury, JK was able to get back in 2.5 months. You know that's going to be the case with Bo Nix. Whatever he needs, Greg Penner's going to order that, and it's going to be in this Broncos building for him to get back not only quick, but as strong as possible. So that's kind of an encouraging sign.
Yeah, hopefully that ankle gets better. I was encouraged by the fact that nobody else has any injuries that should linger into next year. But that isn't really a question, so I'll spin it to this. They signed a bunch of guys who were injured last year and went 2 for 4, we say. Worked with Ingram, worked with Huff, didn't really work with Dobbins, didn't really work with Greenlaw. But they defended that and said, we feel healthy. We feel like we trust our staff. Our team is generally healthy. We can do those things. What do you think of that? Do you think that they made a mistake?
I think they actually hit on 3 of 4 because I'm going to say that you got half of JK and half of Dre Greenlaw. So you add that and you get 3 of 4 right there. I think the Broncos would have signed up for exactly how this season played out in terms of signing 4 guys that have an injury history and 2 of them playing pretty much the whole season and the other 2 playing half a season. So, Henry, I think that they probably look back at this and say, hey, we got 75% of the snaps out of these guys when in reality their history says you're going to get about 50% of them. And Sean's going to give that credit to that medical staff. And guys, the Broncos have the second fewest injuries, games missed due to injury since Sean Payton has taken over here. We know how much he loves Bo Lowry and really did a great job with Evan Ingram this year. Hufanga played every single game this year. It's going to be interesting with JK, guys. I think that is a massive question. I know how you guys feel about it, and we'll talk about it getting further into this offseason, probably even starting tomorrow with this JK Dobbins. Should they bring him back? Should they not bring him back? What I'll say about this and what we learned from these guys today, both George Paton and Sean Payton went out of their way to say how much of a loss it was to lose J.K. Dobbins. And so they love him in this building for the player he is, for the person he is, for the leader he is. But obviously, this is just another season that he wasn't able to stay healthy. So do they go a different direction? Do they bring him back? Do they bring him and someone else in here to help R.J. Harvey? That's going to be interesting. But I'll tell you what, I think there's a good chance that they want J.K. back here.
But therein lies the problem, right, Zach, is how much of a loss it was. And it's a loss that should have been expected.
The most likely scenario is what played out. He was really good, and then you didn't have him when you need him.
Yeah, but is it easy to just go and replace him and get that good of a runner? Guys, a week before he was injured, he was the third leading rusher in the NFL, only behind James Cook, who ended up leading the NFL in rushing, and Jonathan Taylor, who was in the MVP conversation at that point. That's how good he was. Can you go out and replace that for a $3 million contract that you might be able to get JK back for? And does he actually, is it a good blend, bringing him back with RJ Harvey, with helping RJ Harvey's development? Because if you go out and you use a first-round pick on a running back, you're pretty much giving up on RJ Harvey in terms of like him actually being that guy. I can see there being a blend, especially with how the Broncos feel about JK, being a blend that actually kind of works there so that when JK, if he does get healthy, I'll touch wood, if he does get injured again, that RJ would be more developed and be able to step into a bigger role there. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I just think that's going to be more of a conversation than some people think.
Yeah.
What else do we need to know from today, Zach?
Well, it's a very interesting thing. Sean Payton said that the running game, since we're talking about it right now, is going to be one of the most important things that they do this offseason. There's going to be a lot of attention to it. And it's not just with bringing in a running back or two. It's also with the scheme, with the offensive line. Sean Payton said he walked into Zach Streif, the offensive line and run game coordinator's office today, and said, we got to figure this out. Because Sean Payton said he wants to run the football. He wants to control the game. He doesn't just want to do it because he has to fill a number. He wants to run the ball. And we cannot forget, I know Sean got a lot of blame this year for not running the football at times and abandoning it. That was not the case when he was with New Orleans, when he had a run game that he trusted. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, all of these guys, Darren Sproles, he relied on the running game a ton, even with having Drew Brees. So that's going to be a big point of emphasis for the Broncos. And then on the other side of the offensive play calling and game is the receivers. I thought Sean sent a very interesting message. So after the game, Sean Payton talked about how there were too many drops in the AFC Championship game and the entire season. Today, he said it again, and then he said he went to technique. It wasn't about the personnel. It was about technique. He said, look, we got to be catching the ball with our thumbs together most of the time, unless it's below your waist. That's the only time you don't catch the ball with your thumbs touching. And to me, that was clear message to the wide receivers coach and the tight ends coach and whoever is coaching these guys to catch the ball. So that kind of tipped me off. Like, do we need to be watching for a coaching move to potentially happen there? George and Sean both went and talked about the personnel and said, we like our young guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move, but they're not going to overhaul this room because they do like those young guys. It was really just about the technique, and I found that fascinating here.
Yeah, that wasn't a message to the current wide receivers coach. That was a message to the future wide receivers coach.
What it feels like. And what I will say is Sean Payton does not typically make staff changes 24, 48 hours after the season ends. Remember, they moved on from their former special teams coordinator on Friday after the season ended. So I would expect some changes, if there's going to be any, at the end of this week, beginning of next week. And I think you could be onto something there, Ryan.
I think so as well. All right, we got time. If you've got one last piece of information that you feel like needs to be emphasized.
Well, I just love Sean Payton's message about the coaching staff. He was talking about Davis Webb potentially getting a job with the Raiders. And he said, just like he has, I support all of these guys getting jobs. And then a follow-up was like, well, what would it be like if he ends up in the division, of course, going to the Raiders? And Sean said, that's going to be a pain in the ass for him. And I absolutely love that. That's just Sean Payton right there, sending a little message on the way out. And I love that. He's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of losing his quarterback coach who's helped develop Bo Nix. He'd want to beat his ass, as we've heard. So that would, I just love that message from Sean.
See, what's funny is I read that in text at first on Twitter, and I was like, oh, that's a funny quote. And then I saw the video, and I was like, oh, Sean wasn't joking at all.
You're 100% right. Sean also, once again, had to clarify that some things were jokes. So if you see anything online that maybe you think was like he was upset or mad at anyone, it was probably just a joke. He's a funny guy, okay?
He could have just worked on his timing on that a little bit. Like he'd be like, well, that'd be a pain in the ass for him.
Wow.
That would have really delivered it.
That would have really done it.
Sean, you're welcome to come to DNVR for some speech classes to help with the timing and rhythm anytime.
Right. It's like call the ambulance, but not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Zach, for jumping on. We'll see you tomorrow, I guess.
All right. Sounds great. See you, fellas.
All right. Later, Zach.
That was Zach Stevens from the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Imagine that.
Imagine it.
And we've got a lot to talk about. Zach kind of gave us the overview, but I've got a lot of notes that we've got to dig into for this. We only have 45 minutes to do it, and we're going to get started here after we give a shout out to our friends over at
Factor, man. Factor is the best. Today's Tuesday.
Yes,
which
it
means
is.
It's Factor Day at my house. Got my delivery bright and early, like 8 a.m. delivery today at my Factor boxes, which means I have a fresh Factor box in the fridge upstairs for as soon as we finish here. I'm going pesto salmon today.
That is so fancy.
It's so good too.
I'm gonna have like ramen or something for lunch.
Yeah.
And I've never had like real ramen, just like you boil it ramen.
That's why you need Factor.
I need Factor
because I have a lot of respect for people who have time to cook, meal prep, and all that. I think most of us just don't have that time.
No.
And so Factor just does it for you. They send over these boxes that are packed full, protein-rich, healthy meals. I do the keto ones, but there's calorie smart options. There's all sorts of different options that you can go with. So head to factormeals.com/DNVR50 off and use code DNVR50 off to get 50% off your Factor box plus free breakfast for a year.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Game Time is awesome. If you guys are trying to go to any events, that's the spot to go get tickets. Let's see. I went to a hockey game a couple of weeks ago, which was awesome. Obviously bought the tickets through Game Time. You just wait. Tickets usually get a little bit cheaper, especially like two. Two's kind of the magic number. If you're looking for 2 tickets, there's so many options to buy 2 tickets. $17 to get into the Nuggets Pistons game tonight. Can sit row 1 in the corner, $194. There's a deal.
It's a great deal.
It's also just a good deal to get in for $20 or whatever. All sorts of good deals. They get better up until the game. All the fees are included. There's just a nice little map. You saw how easily I did that. You just pull it up, you look at the map, and it's like, oh, there's prices. It's super simple. All sorts of awesome picks. Wow, they want me to talk about NBA tickets as low as $25. $18. They're underselling themselves in these notes. It's the place we all go. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. We are back in the Xfinity studio for the DNVR Broncos podcast presented by Bet365, and I've got a lot of notes.
All right.
And I think the best way to do this is chronologically. So some of these we'll hit and move on quickly. Others, like the running back conversation, we can dig in a bit and see what's going on. Sean started talking about how this is a very tough week, obviously. You lose, almost every team ends the season on a loss, obviously, unless you're really bad, in which case you might win week 18.
Yes, or your Bo Nix.
Or your Bo Nix, right? Bo Nix, who was scootering around up above, so that you have like the atrium.
Yeah.
So we never saw him, but Sean was like, yeah, he's just been scootering around up there, which is...
Only the quarterback just gets to go on the second floor and scooter around.
Right. And that's what he was saying. It's like, he's in like parts of the building that he has no business being in. Like there's no reason for him to be with those people. So I think he's just like taking laps, getting his laps in, staying in shape.
I love it. It's like when someone has to like bring their kid into the office because like school is closed or whatever.
And everybody has to like take a turn.
Well, they're just like, they can't go too far.
Yep.
That's like Bo. Like he's
like,
got to get his energy
take
out.
Take the candies off the desk over here. And go bother somebody over there. Like just do your thing.
It makes Bo seem like such a kid.
It is weird though with Bo because like last year there was the concerted effort to get Bo out of the building, like force him to take time off, like take a month just to go do things. That doesn't happen this year because he's in the building rehabbing right into when football starts. I guess maybe you could take a month off in June, but at that point, you need to be doing things in order to get ready. So it is going to be a different off season, which is strange to think about.
He's got to get to Mexico at some point.
I hope so. I hope he gets to Mexico. But yeah, so tough week. Sean was saying just the finality of it all. It's like, yeah, that's a good way to say it. I like it. But they're going through all the exit interviews and exit physicals. So each player goes up, talks to the position coach. It's like, here's what went well. Here's what didn't. Here's what we want more of moving forward. And then also goes and talks to a doctor to see what's up. So they're in the process of that. They are building the calendar up until training camp right now. And typically what they do is take like a week where they look at the coaches, do a week where they look at the players, and then kind of know where they stand. So yesterday they started bringing back some of the guys on the practice squad. Mostly the guys you expect. Caleb Lohner, your draft pick, you want him back, get that deal done, and those will kind of keep trickling in. But I think the biggest news, even if it isn't much of a surprise, they expect to be entirely healthy for training camp, which a lot of teams will not be. To be able to start with like a blank slate is nice.
Yeah, I mean, almost every team has someone who faced a season-long injury somewhere in the middle of the season that just doesn't allow them to do that.
Yep.
The Broncos, as crazy as it is to say now, had incredibly good injury luck this season.
Right.
And even Bo Nix's injury in terms of the scale of injuries was positive.
Yeah.
The timing of it was just the worst it could possibly be. But it's crazy to think that you didn't have a torn ACL. You didn't have a, one of those big ones. I guess the biggest, latest injury would have been Bo, and then Brandon Jones, who we assume tore his pec.
Right. Yeah. And so they expect to be good. And again, like last year you wind up with Dre Greenlaw getting hurt during the spring. And I think was Drew Sanders during the spring. He might've been. So you'll have a couple of those pop up. Hopefully they're no big deal. From there, got into the game. Message to players, you're going to get punched. That's the NFL. One team wins, and it really hurts when you lose, but it can't discourage you from coming back, which is the correct answer.
Yeah.
Can't be too down on it. On the fourth down, maybe hinted a little bit that he regrets the decision to go for it on fourth down, maybe, but really regrets the play call. He talked about how you used to be able to get a measurement. So you could say, like, where exactly is this? And then you know the exact distance. But more importantly, while they're out there measuring, you just get time to talk it over. But now that they're done with the, can we get a measurement, changes some things. He said they knew there would be flurries in the second half, but we now have a new feel for what flurries are here, which is something. And added, doesn't really pay attention to any of the criticism. He would never be in this position if he had paid attention to it.
Fair. Fair all around. I mean, obviously, we've all kind of wrung our hands about what parts of it we didn't agree with, whether that was a decision to go for it or the decision to run that play. There's a world in which the play works and they score a touchdown off of it.
Right.
And Sean Payton's a genius.
Right.
They didn't get the right look for it. Basically the sellout on the run ended up getting there so fast that it blew up the pass as well.
It did. We've probably talked enough about that. Moving on for the game, got asked about, like, how do you take the next step? And he made it clear that's not how he sees things. It's just you're back to the start of the race. It's just a total reset. You're all the way back to the beginning, because you don't just get to say, like, oh, we're right here and now we're building on it. We show up in training camp and we build from there. He did add that this time there's more resources. There's no dead cap. There's a solid foundation in place. There's like a confidence. And so you have like some reasons to be confident, but you're just back to 0-0 and you are what your record says you are.
Yeah, I think it's the right way of looking at it. It does go back to what I said a few weeks ago, though, which is like the expectations are there now.
Right.
And
they shouldn't be. Maybe that's the wrong way to say it. But I mean, it's just when you look at it, one team gets to host an AFC championship game. Two teams get to make it. Like the Broncos, when the odds come out, they'll probably say like 65-35 just to make the playoffs. They're probably going to be third in the race to win the AFC West in terms of the odds. Like there is, getting back to that point is very difficult.
It is very difficult, but it just is what it is. Every year you've set a bar. Sean Payton has eclipsed that bar every year. The Broncos have got better every single year under Sean Payton. It's human nature for the fans to expect the bar to continue to be raised. And whether it's fair or not, anything less than a AFC championship appearance at the very least next year will be considered a failure and a step back. That's just the way it is.
And Vegas will tell you there's like a 10% chance that they get to that point, which is, I mean, that's the difficulty of the NFL. When you want to be number one of 32 teams, it's just not easy to do.
And we'll all be betting on those 10-1 odds.
We will.
And we'll be mad when they don't hit. Or we'll be happy when they do.
Exactly. I've got asked about the opening up cap space, the dead cap that's gone after this year, because the Broncos are finally done accounting for Russell Wilson in terms of their salary cap. He used an analogy, as he likes to do. He said, if you have $200,000 to decorate your home, it's going to look a lot better than if you have $50,000 to decorate your home. He did add, that's only true if you're good at decorating. Which at the time, I'm not sure he meant as like a metaphor, but it very much works as one.
Yeah, for sure.
And then also added, we'd never use it as an excuse. It was just an opportunity to develop young players.
Great. I mean, remember last year when I was like, how impressive it was that Bo Nix and Sean Payton did everything they did with no running game. This year, it's like how impressive it was that they did that with that dead cat. They got to the AFC Championship. They hosted it. They got the 1 seed. They won 14 games, all with the player who was owed the most money on the team not being on the team at all.
Totally. Yeah. Got into stuff with Bo, got into stuff, the injuries. As we said before, though, the run game, he made it sound like that might be the biggest priority this offseason, figuring out how to run the ball. And so they do a study, is what they call it, when they go through, look through everything and figure out why it didn't work. Again, pointed out there were times when they were able to get under center in situations where you want to run the ball to kind of take control of the situation, take control of the game. But there are other times when they weren't able to, and they want to be able to, in those situations, run the football. So they're figuring out why it didn't work. Added, of course, that losing JK is a tough loss because a great football player, brought a lot to the locker room, and when you take him away, it hurts. To me, the old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You got fooled. J.K. Dobbins was not able to play the entire season. He missed the end of the season once again. To me, you just can't. It's similar to Javonte Williams the year before. It's like he just doesn't look like himself. We said on the podcast, say, I really think that he is going to, in year 2 of his recovery, look like a much better running back in 2025 than he was in 2024, but you just can't take the risk because you made that mistake once. You just can't keep losing the same way.
So I actually don't think this was a fool me situation.
Oh,
I truly do not believe the Broncos, in their heart of hearts, thought that J.K. Dobbins was going to be healthy all season. I think that they thought, okay, we're drafting R.J. Harvey. We need veteran insurance here. And so let's go get J.K. Dobbins, who history would tell us is going to be very good for a portion of the season. And hopefully by the time that portion runs out, RJ will be ready.
Yep.
It just, RJ wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
And so hopefully that his development continues to go and he's even more prepared for this next year. Here's where I fall on the JK situation. I love JK.
Me too.
I wish he could just magically be healthy forever and be the Broncos running back for the next 4 or 5 years. By saying how much it hurt when they lost him, they were highlighting the problem with J.K. Dobbins. Is when you have him, you are going to end up relying on him.
Yes,
because he's
good.
Really good.
Yes,
and so you're going to go through training camp and he's going to look awesome, and you're going to start saying, "Okay, that's our guy."
Yep.
And history would tell us that eventually that rug will be pulled out from under you. And it's really hard to have a situation where you can just hit the ground running.
Right. Again, like you spend 6 months just standing on a rug. Now all of a sudden you're standing on whatever's beneath the rug. It's a different world. You might be wearing socks on some hard floor, you know?
Slippery.
Right.
So I don't know what to do about this. I think there's a world in which JK is like willing to be back on a vet min, and you still have to have a conversation about how this works.
Right.
Because even if you were to do that, that's a great deal, of course, considering you're going to, even if you only get 8 games, it'll still be a good deal. You have to have another running back. So then what does that mean for RJ? Like you're kind of agreeing to then stunt his development.
Right.
Yeah, so I think
when you have a guy you can't trust, it just puts you in a tough spot.
I think it's going to be really hard to not come to the conclusion that you just need a different guy to be your go-to starting running back.
Right. And again, there's so much that goes into it. Like, I remember even saying, like, the Broncos' plan last year was to run it back with the exact same team and then just add to the top. And when you're adding to the top and saying, like, hey, we made it to the playoffs, we have guys cheap under contract, there isn't going to be big turnover, we might as well just say, go after Dre Greenlaw, see if he's healthy. Go after Evan Ingram, see if he's healthy. Go after J.K. Dobbins, see if he's healthy. Go after Ufunga, see if he's healthy. Hit on as many as they can. And we had those conversations where you say, you know, for you to make a Super Bowl, the dice need to fall the right way. Like, you need J.K. Dobbins to be healthy, and you're at the time making it to the Super Bowl sounded really hard. And what winds up happening is JK isn't healthy, and so you don't make it to the Super Bowl. Like, you have JK this week, I think at his strength, you probably go win that game. The tone just shifts when you rethink about that conversation, even at midseason, when you say, like, oh, you're 9-2, and now you're sitting here banking on JK Dobbins' health. And when you say, like, we think that we can be a Super Bowl team if JK stays healthy, the odds of that, I mean, you can just go through season by season by season. It just hasn't happened. And so like this year, like say like, oh, this one was fluky. It was a hip drop tackle. Right. But it happens every time. Like last year, he was able to play 13 games before, I think got hurt in the middle, which was pretty good. Before that, played 1 game the year before, played 8 games the year before, missed the entire year before that. Like there's just a trend here where you say, you know, if you look at the numbers, he's finished 1 or 2 seasons out of 6, depending on, I can't remember when the injury was. I think it might have been just the end of his rookie year. But if you're saying like he's finished 1 or 2 seasons out of 6, there's a 1 in 3 chance you get it. Even if you want to be optimistic and say there's a 50% chance he's healthy at the end of the year, that's not something you can rely on. So you need a really good backup plan. And if you're investing in a backup plan, why do you need this plan?
I know. Like if the Broncos were a 5-win team, I would be pounding the table saying bring back Jake.
Right.
Because I just love him that much.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Super Bowls on the line, you have to make really tough decisions like this. Mm-hmm. What I will say, and one thing that I'll sign off on in terms of bringing back JK is bring in another back. This person is going to be your highest salary. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they're going to be your bell cow.
Yep.
JK is your 2. You're saying he's going to get, I don't know, less than 100 carries. Mm-hmm. And then you're putting RJ Harvey in the Tyler Bidet role. Mm-hmm. Again, that just, you are agreeing to say like, okay, RJ Harvey probably not in the plans as our future number 1.
Yeah. I mean, people in the chat saying it's not injury prone because it's not a nagging injury. You call it what you want. The guy doesn't finish the season. And you need guys at the end of the season. It's just, that's what puts you in a tough spot. I've got a couple more thoughts on this.
And yeah.
First, we should give a shout out to our friends over at
Common Spirit Health. Common Spirit, they're more than just hospitals and clinics. They are a team of expert and passionate caregivers that are dedicated to your well-being, and they're woven into the very fabric of our community right here in Denver. So whether you're looking for preventative care, advanced surgical solutions, or something else, their skilled physicians and caring staff are here for you. You can expect a blend of cutting-edge technology with a commitment to human kindness at their 20 hospitals and 240 clinics right here in Colorado. So whether it's a routine checkup, whether you're managing a chronic condition, responding to an emergency, you can trust Common Spirit to deliver exceptional care right here close to home. Experience the difference compassion makes. Find a Common Spirit location near you and discover a new standard of health and healing by visiting mountain.commonspirit.org.
Also want to give a shout out to our friends over at New Built Restoration and Construction. There's a big snowstorm. Wouldn't be surprised if I left my sunroof open.
You did.
I left my sunroof open. Got the car filled with snow.
Maybe someone had their sunroof cave in their house.
Yeah, because in their case, they don't deserve it, which we'd feel bad for. New Built Restoration Construction may be able to help me. They could certainly help somebody whose roof caved in. That's what they're all about. Available 24/7. Over 600 reviews that show just how great they really are, how easy they are to work with. They'll work with your insurance for you, so it'll make it super smooth for you to get help, whether it's fire damage, water damage, mold removal, repair services, commercial projects. They're DNVR fans. We're excited to support them as well. So when the home emergency hits, New Built Restoration Construction will be there at nubilt.com or 720-903-4254 and let them know DNVR sent you.
What's up, everyone? It is our favorite day of the week. It's Taco Tuesday, and we've got an incredible lineup. Taco Bell just delivered to us every Tuesday. Adam Mars is here to try some of this with me. We've got Taco Supreme, hard shell.
Try it. I've never had it before.
Yeah, I know. Like, this is the first time.
Once a week for my entire life.
Let's just dig in. Let's dig in. I'm going for the Taco Supreme because that's the best.
That's what I'm going for, man.
That's the best one.
Maybe the best fast food item on earth.
I actually recently just tried the Taco Bell's nuggets as well. Incredible. Underrated as well.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't go wrong. Taco Bell, it's Taco Tuesday. Stop by your nearest Taco Bell, get some good food, enjoy yourself.
Back into the DNVR Broncos podcast. It is Taco Tuesday, so head over to Taco Bell. Get yourself some tacos. I might be getting a burrito today.
Quesarito.
Right, quesarito. rice with the wisdom teeth isn't great.
How is that still?
It's not
let's
good.
Just move on.
The doctor says it's normal. We are in the Xfinity studio. This podcast presented by Bet365. And I think one of the things the Broncos got wrong at running back this year was that they had 3 guys doing one job, which you just don't have. Jaleel, RJ, and Tyler Bidet. That should just be one player.
I agree.
And I think hopefully RJ between now and the regular season figures out a little bit more in pass protection.
He's
in which
built
case
for
you can,
it.
right, he is. And you can bridge that gap. But I think that was the issue with roster construction. Because the Broncos didn't need a superstar running back to win on Sunday. Like they just kind of needed the Ramondre Stevenson of their own, a guy who's just big and plays playoff football, which is something we talk about all year, is that you need a big running back who plays playoff football. I threw Audric Estime out there as a guy who, like, you don't need somebody who's great at the job. You just need somebody who is literally like, that's who he is. He's just a big back who goes straight ahead.
And it just hurts to tackle him in that weather.
Exactly. And so to wind up in that situation without that guy on the roster, but still having like Cody Schrader and Deuce Vaughn on the practice squad, you're just loaded up on one side of the equation. When playoff football, you need that other guy. And so I think there was a roster management problem where you could have mitigated some of the damage by just having somebody capable. Even capable feels like a stretch of a word. Just somebody who's just built to play that style of football. Doesn't even have to be good at it. Would have totally opened that game up. So
a lot of people talking about drafting a power back. I just don't want more rookies to be counted on in these situations.
I know, that's the tough part.
Obviously, sometimes you hit and it just doesn't matter. But you could just clearly see the difference in experience and vision and all the things that JK had that RJ didn't. And that's not to say that RJ didn't do a good job. It's just to say that he wasn't prepared.
It's not what he was.
Exactly. He just wasn't there yet because he's a rookie. So I don't want to be in the situation where it's like, okay, well, we have RJ, JK, and then another rookie, and then now that other rookie is now thrust into a bigger position, like
where he's even less ready.
Yeah. So I'd like to see the Broncos address running back via trade or free agency. And again, I'm still okay with what I just said earlier about then JK's the 2 and RJ's the 3.
Right.
And he's kind of your pass catching third down back.
Right.
He learns how to block. So we go.
Awesome. And that's where, like, you see, like, David Montgomery's name brought up. Sure. Like, if you can just get Montgomery, Harvey, Dobbins, you can make that work. It's probably heavy on Dobbins until Dobbins disappears because he is the best of the group. But I also wouldn't mind if you just said, Breece Hall's out there. Let's go get Breece Hall. Like, you throw Dobbins behind him if you want. But again, that's the tough part with Dobbins is that he's not somebody you throw in there for 3 snaps and expect him to be at his best. Like if he's your running back, he's your running back. And if he wants to take that role instead of being a starter somewhere else, I guess that's up to him. But I don't know. I think the season can't end because you can't run the football because the guy who's gotten hurt repeatedly got hurt again. Like, it just, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You gotta learn your lesson.
And I think we can leave it there.
I think we can. Let's see. Run game to the receivers. That was next up. Where we have a bunch of thoughts. We'll combine some of what George Paton had to say as well. But Sean said, they've drafted to that position. They've really loaded up in the draft. They really like those guys. They think they're well-rounded with the speed and with the size. There are too many drops. Thumbs together is the way to catch. Sometimes you kind of just drift out with those young receivers. Only time it's pinkies is below the waist. You don't want to be throwing them the ball below the waist very often anyway. It's very particular situations. And then you wind up with George Paton adding, there's no regret for not trading for a receiver at the deadline. The guys who were available at that time wouldn't have made much of a difference for us. I agree. Jalen Waddle is not what people say he is. You put Jalen Waddle in that game on Sunday, but that's no difference.
I completely agree. Well,
okay.
I don't know. The game on Sunday was not lost because they didn't have wide receivers. That much,
and that was the next point.
And
young receivers did not hold us back. And that on Sunday, not the reason we didn't make the Super Bowl. And they all had good years. Now we're good.
And that's what's so hard about this situation for the Broncos, because I fully believe, and a lot of people fully believe, they were just going to win the Super Bowl with the roster they currently have.
Right.
And so, George Paton can't necessarily stand up there and say the reason we lost is because our quarterback got hurt, and then kind of like throw Stiddy under the bus. But it's a weird situation for the Broncos to be in, where it's like, okay, well, we need this and we need that, we need to tinker this, and it's like, well, if they just had a little bit more luck on their side, they might just be getting a ring right now, and no one had questioned anything.
Right, and I think with Waddle in particular, just going back to my notes, the thing is he's a small receiver. And he doesn't play any bigger than he is. He doesn't give you tough catches. He can separate mostly because of speed. It's nice that he can beat man with the speed, but you already have that in Marvin Mims. And he just gave you
not that fast.
I think he's the exact same speed.
Okay.
We can go back and check 40 times and stuff, but again, and then what does Marvin Mims do? Yeah, it gives you the 57-yard catch on Sunday. It's like you could have just subbed Jalen Waddle in and he would have also given you that catch, but I don't know that. If you're going to go get a receiver, you don't need that B tier guy. Or it's like Waddle. He'll give you your 900 yards. I bet he must have 1,000-yard season at some point.
Yes.
But I think that if you're really going to do something here, you're going and getting an actual number one receiver who makes tough catches, who catches balls away from who you can just feed.
Which is what I want more than anything else this offseason. We just had that whole conversation about running back. If you told me we had the same situation at running back, but we had a legit number one, I would make that trade. I don't know where it is. There's been, not to say the Broncos should have done this, but the Stephon Diggs thing just floats around every year.
Right.
And some team that really wants that just says screw it, we'll do it. Yeah. I don't know who that player is this year, where it's the Broncos can say, all right, we're putting our chips in, we're going to get that guy that has these questions or whatever, but we want his playmaking ability. I think if the Broncos did make the Super Bowl and lost, it would have been because they don't have a JSN.
Yeah. Totally. And I also think that AFC football is different than NFC football. NFC, it is all about those playmakers right now. It is all about we're going to beat you on these 15-yard catches and we're just going to go back and forth and back and forth. You watch the Panthers-Rams game, it's basically a game of 7-on-7 football. Meanwhile, you watch the AFC playoffs and it's all just winning in the trenches, consistently being the better team and forcing that. And so that's why I think the Super Bowl is going to be interesting, is because there's a little bit of style difference. But I obviously, if you could go get Justin Jefferson, sign me up.
Yes.
Yes, you get much better. But when you look at it,
Comment says Pickens.
Yeah, that guy's just a mess. You can't add him to that locker room.
I don't think the Cowboys are going to let him go in the first place. Yeah. But the reason why the Cowboys aren't going to let him go is because I think a lot of the stuff about him in Pittsburgh was overblown. He gets to Dallas and they're happy.
Maybe.
Everyone's happy.
Check. Are they happy? All it takes is one game. You go back-to-back games where you only throw him the ball 4 times in each, and next thing you know, he's screaming.
And that's where Courtland Sutton deserves his appreciation.
Right.
I think that, the way that his career has played out with all the losing he's had to endure in Denver, winning makes him happy enough. He doesn't, he wants the ball. He wants to help the team with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
But you don't see him slamming helmets or crying on the sidelines when he's not getting the ball enough, which I really appreciate and respect about Court.
Right. The other piece of it to me is that, like they said, we've drafted young receivers and they're all improving. You have Pat Bryant, you have Troy Franklin, you have Marvin Mims. And if you commit to drafting and developing, and then right before that's about to pay off, you say we're just going to bail on that. It's like if you, it's your birthday. And so you're baking a cake and you get 3/4 of the way through and you're just I don't know. This cake doesn't look all that. Let's just go buy a cake. It's well, just finish making the damn cake and see what you got.
Yeah. And the store-bought cakes, if you don't go to a real bakery, are never that good.
Right. I mean, I just don't have the taste to know good from great. Sugar's sugar to me, but that's what I've heard. But yeah, you don't spend 3 years developing Marvin Mims and then say, you know what? We're just going to go get whatever. You don't spend a year developing Pat Bryant and say we'll just get 34-year-old Devontae Adams for a year. And at this point, he might not even be any better. And so that's the thing to me is you can go find one of those fringe 1,000-yard receivers. I don't know that is actually going to make you all that much better, because again, You ran. The problem with the receivers wasn't that they weren't good enough. The problem was that they weren't on the field. Because you were down to your last 3 receivers in Buffalo. You don't have Pat Bryant. You don't have Troy Franklin in the AFC Championship game. Like not having those guys was the problem.
Yeah. But there's just not a guy that you can rely on. And Dion said it from behind the camera. He said, a vacuum, a guy who just the defense just says like, oh God, 3rd and 7, like. All of our resources are going. Right. We're not all, but we're sending extra resources to stop this guy. Well, guess what? Now Pat Bryant's wide open. So I don't know. I think that
Troy Franklin's 22 years old and has flashed over and over again. And he's so tall and he's so fast. Like he has everything.
Is he ever going to be dominant?
We don't know. You just don't know. That's the thing about drafting and developing the guys with the freaky traits is you just don't know until they do it. And if you bail when he's 22 years old.
But at what point, like how many years until?
I don't know.
Who's the latest?
I regret the decision to like go down this route. I regret not going and getting the stud receiver a couple years ago. And I almost wonder if the real answer is you like these guys as your 2, 3, 4. If Mims, Franklin, and Bryant are your 2, 3, 4 in some order, with Humphrey chiming in the way he does, that's kind of a perfect setup in some ways. And then you say, is there a way to just get better at your number 1? Because that contract is very tradable for Court. Like other teams getting a good deal. Could you find a way to go swap that and then just go get yourself a new number 1?
It'd be so much more fun if we were talking about the Super Bowl right now.
I know it would. I just want to talk about game planning, not getting rid of all these very nice people.
I don't know. We need a more reliable, more dominant person on offense. And so if you can develop someone into that, amazing. I think that we're going to need to manufacture a rift in Minnesota and get Justin Jefferson to force his way out of there.
Right. Okay. And final thought, if you go and get like a Bijan Robinson at running back, all of a sudden I feel much differently about needing like your dominant number 1 receiver. Like to me, you just need like some dominant playmaker.
Yeah, sure.
And it can come wherever.
The problem
it could even be J.K. Dobbins. I just wouldn't trust it until we see it in the Super Bowl.
We're going full circle here.
I know we are. All right. Real quick, before we wrap this up, we got to give a shout out to our friends over at
Toyota, man. Toyotas are so great. In fact, I had to drive a friend's car recently. They didn't drive a Toyota, and I was just like, hey, look.
Filled with snow?
Nice looking car. It wasn't that one.
Oh.
No. Nice looking car you got here. Really, I get it. You're missing out. You're seriously missing out on all of the features that you get with your Toyota. Every time that I have to drive in the snow or anything like that, I'm completely confident in my Toyota. I've had my Toyota for 5 years now. Never once had to take it in. Never once.
That's pretty crazy.
Never once had to take it in. And then just think of all the time and money I would save not having to take my car in. My old car, I had to take it in all the time. So if you're ready for a Toyota, visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Bet365. They make me so much money. Scotty Scheffler, man, when you got hit one shot back of 3 guys, Blades Brown I'd heard of, but I just can't believe it in an 18-year-old to beat him. That was just so easy. A round to go, plus 176 on Scotty. He goes off and runs away with it. Golf is back, even if football is dead. Basketball, obviously going. Hockey, it's always something going on. College basketball is where I think there's a lot of money to be made. I've only, early in the season, I did a good job because they have like those tournaments that get you into it, so you see every team. I faded away, but that's probably where I'm pivoting to. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5 win or lose. Sign up, use code DNVR365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Back into the DNVR Broncos podcast presented by Bet365 in the Xfinity studio. All right, we can fly through some more of these. I think we hit kind of the big talking points.
Do you want to quickly hit the news that you just mentioned during the break?
Yeah. So Adam Schefter said Jim Leonard, Broncos defensive backs coach, is what did he say? Expected to be a leading candidate to become the next defensive coordinator.
Okay.
He's in the top group, and they don't even have a coach yet, right? So
No, they hired Joe Brady.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes. Yeah. Yeah. Expected to be a leading candidate means we'll call it 50-50 for him.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I don't know how people interpreted this differently, and I'll eat my words if I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Cooper yesterday was saying that Vance is coming back, right?
It's what it seems like. But again, like, I just don't know.
I was shocked how many people interpreted that as him saying he was going to leave.
I interpreted it as let them. I'm no need to interpret. The news will come.
Well, no, there is need to interpret because one, that's our job. Two, I think that if Vance was going to leave, Jim Leonard was going to become the defensive coordinator of the Broncos.
You would think.
Vance now, in my opinion, not going to leave. And so then you lose Jim Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a trade we're willing to make.
Yes. Nice little segue into George Paton, though, adding the assets they have right now are awesome. Obviously, with the cap space and all that stuff, you have 5 picks in the first 4 rounds. Could also get 2 more comp picks, was something he brought up, which would be 2 third-round picks if Vance Joseph were to get a head coaching job. That's where Vance Joseph's a great coordinator, and some people were like, "Oh, it'd be nice if he left because it'd be a change." Look at this defense, the number 2 in yards, number 3 in points this year, just held an opposing team to 10 points in the AFC Championship game, an AFC Championship game in which your offense wasn't staying on the field. So they had like 14 possessions or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good defensive coordinator. You're not doing better than him.
I agree.
It's similar to the Sean Payton play caller thing. It's like, is there a play caller better than Sean Payton? Sure. There's probably somebody who, however your metric is, he's probably not number 1. But when you got a guy who's in the top 5, just don't mess with it.
I couldn't agree more.
More from George Paton. We could hit his thoughts on Bo. Nothing all that groundbreaking, but pointed out Bo has won the most games ever in his first 2 years as a quarterback, and he says wins are how you evaluate a quarterback. When you're down with 2 minutes to go,
QB wins,
you expect
baby.
to win. There's still areas to improve. Hope that he's back around May or so.
Big day for us QB wins people.
In terms of the injured free agents they signed, each guy's an individual. They feel strongly about their health and performance team and the ability to evaluate those guys, create a plan for those guys. Sean pointed out the injuries as well, saying like we've been one of the healthiest teams in the NFL. We're like first in games lost, and second in games lost, and first in games lost. Things are going well. But he did add that potentially giving rest days to some veterans early in the week might be a good idea. He might be pushing him a little bit too hard there. Talked about Jade. Said they see him as a nickel, a dime, and a corner. Can do all those jobs, and it's just tough for him to get drafted into the best cornerback room in the league.
Today is not the day for my thoughts on this.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not.
How about Savion, another defensive guy, said developmental, but he looked pretty good, played about 33 snaps this year. He's big, he's strong, we're working on it. Then on Q Robinson, obviously brought up the sack on Sunday and added he might have the most upside in this draft class.
That play on Sunday was
right.
Elite. Elite edge play.
I don't think it's crazy to say he might have the most upside.
No, I don't either.
Free agents, they like owners who invest in the team. They like a team with a quarterback, and they like living in Denver. New facility helps as well. They think that they're in a pretty good shape there. Both George and Sean said that they want to be aggressive in free agency.
Oh yeah,
they have the cap space, they have the picks, and they want to get better than they were.
This is Sean's time to shine, baby.
It really is.
Nobody loves pushing chips into the middle more than Sean.
Yep. I mean, when we talked about the receivers, I guess, because that was kind of the last one from George. They don't regret not trading for anybody. Those guys wouldn't have made a defense. The young receivers didn't hold us back. They're not the reason we didn't make the Super Bowl. The injuries or what made it look that way.
Really quick, a name that we hadn't brought up, Brandon Ayuk.
I get scared off of guys who haven't played football in a year.
It does not have a long, good history.
No, and that's where before you even get into what he is as a football player, or like what he is as like a person who you can trust to play on your football team, a guy you want in the locker room. It's just like he didn't play football. He's played 7 games over the past 2 years, including none this year.
Okay,
we
don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
I
hadn't. It fit the mold of guys I was talking about, where it's just like teams that are going all in are willing to roll the dice on this.
Also, so 748 as a rookie, 826 second year, 1015, 1342. Came in a year older than Troy. So as you talk about like how many guys kind of like have that sort of trajectory.
So what year was it that he had 1,300 yards of his career?
Year 4 of his career as a 25-year-old.
Yeah.
So that'd be 3 years from now for Troy.
It's fair.
Yep. All right, let's hit some super chats before we get out of here. Seems like we got a bunch of them, which is a lot of fun and we appreciate. Hayden, $5. George said receivers didn't lose the game. Couldn't disagree more. We need a receiver with yak and the D fear. The defense fears him. Yep. Sean shouldn't have to draw a receiver open every play. Yeah.
He shouldn't, and he does.
Yeah. Again, like if you had Troy Franklin in that game, if you had Pat Bryant in that game, again, you weren't far off from winning that game. It also wasn't a game where receivers thrive.
Like I said earlier, all these conversations are weird because what happened is Bo Nix got hurt.
Right. And what we think would have happened if he didn't is they go to the Super Bowl for sure.
Yes.
And that's not really a team you want to mess with. I want to talk about JFM. Super Bowl 60 MVP Sturdy City says, whether it was Pat Bryant enthusiast, Adam Prentice #1 fan, Sean Satan, or himself, it's been a fun ride repping this squad. Let's have a great offseason, DNVR fam. Much love. Yes.
Go.
So much to talk about.
We need a new name though.
Yeah. I don't want to, that just brings me back to a sad time. Ziggy. So proud of Sean and the guys. Love this team and your content. Wish there was a Wildcat package for RJ once the snow hit next year. God bless Bo Nix. That would have been the day. If they hadn't already had to lean on him so much, I think it would be easier.
It would have been a good move. Great call.
I mean, anything that's different than what happened. You tell me you want the offensive line to turn around and start every play backwards. All I can say is, well, the other way didn't work, so change whatever you can.
I'm just saying you make it just 11 on 11 football.
Yep. Sure. Mile High Sing. David Montgomery, the bruiser. RJ is a receiving threat. JK is a change of pace back. This will improve the run game. Also sign Pitts as a free agent. Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're not probably getting off Evan Ingram this offseason. So it's probably next year if you're looking for like that pure receiving type tight end. This year, though, you could just add a really good, well-rounded tight end.
Yeah. Most tempting player ever, whether it's a fantasy draft or free agency.
He's so big. He's so fast.
He did have a 4-touchdown game this year?
Yeah.
I think he did.
He did. He had a big one. Mile High Sing. I would rather BJ stay over Webb. Defense needs BJ. Yeah, I'd agree.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Bronco guy. Okay, bring back JK, but add a can't power back. Need Shaheed. Definitely want top level tight end that's blocks. Rashid Shaheed has played very well. You also have Marvin Mims, who like is 90% Rashid Shaheed. I thought they were 1-for-1 at the trade deadline, and I think I was wrong about that. But you kind of have that mold.
Yeah. I don't think that Mims is that level of speed. Like game breaking.
Interesting. I think he is. I wonder.
I think that he's a good, fast receiver. And a great returner.
4.38 40. And Shaheed was probably real fast.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong at all.
Yeah.
Marvin is fast. He's just not the fast that like it looks. When you look out there and there's no defender that can keep up with him. You
also look back for Rashid Shaheed. In his age 24 season, 488. 2023 as a 25-year-old, 719. I guess that was his only 700-yard season. So it's not like he's this ultra productive guy. He's less productive than Marvin.
Yeah, his production was like that's the 2 years ago when he was just catching a touchdown every time he touched the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I wasn't banging the table for Rashid Shaheed and I don't think they needed that. They have that. They have good receivers.
They do.
They have guys who can make big plays. They don't have a consistent receiver. That's what I need. I wanted a consistent, dominant receiver.
I take it back. Marvin Mims is 1-for-1 Rashid Shaheed. I'm going to stand on that one. Like, you even go back to this week where you're like, Matt, look what he did. It was 1 catch for 51 yards. What did Marvin do?
Probably
he had the 57-yard catch.
Yeah.
It's even better. And he did it in a freaking blizzard. You have that. You don't need that. Neem Dog. Oh, Bo Chapman Nix, where do I begin? You gave me light from darkness, happiness from despair, and saved us from hell itself. Heal up, King. I'm kind of in hell. I think he will save us from hell, but they lost. They didn't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And
Today is the day that this conversation has made me the most sad that we're not in the Super Bowl.
Right? Yeah. Because I don't want to do that. Neem Dog. Breaks my heart that JK wants to be a Bronco for life. Yeah, I mean, that's a guy who wants to have a home. But then you look through all those Ravens seasons where you're just like, you losing by 7 in the conference championship game to the Chiefs when you don't have JK. It just keeps happening.
I have an idea.
I don't want that.
JK only plays every other game.
Okay. What if you just rest him the first half of the year?
Or that.
Sure.
For the vet men.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm down to experiment.
Definitely. But I just don't want a JK reliant offense because the same thing happens every time. All the way back to high school.
JK might be the founder of load management in the NFL.
Right. And it's not just in the NFL this has happened. I mean, the broken leg is senior high school into like Neem Dog. Trade for Montgomery, he has Bronco vibes. I would shoot even higher.
He does have Bronco vibes.
Yeah, I would shoot even higher. Like I think
Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, that's the guy. Let's not go for tier 2 at the moment. We're months away from free agency. Shoot for the stars, guys.
We're in a Super Bowl window.
Yeah, not the guy who as a 28-year-old just ran for 716 yards.
Derrick
4.5 per carry. Sure, maybe even a little. He's a little old, but yeah, sure. I'm not gonna say no to Derrick Henry. I take David Robinson, probably the real David Robinson.
The Admiral.
What are each of your first top free agent acquisitions that are not currently on the roster right now? I'll spin this. Just bring back JFM. I just want JFM. If you have JFM, you will lead the NFL in sacks next year. If you don't have JFM, I don't think you do. Because the way it works is you line up the same way every single time when you have a 4-man rush. And it's Benito on the right edge. It's Zach Allen next to him. It's JFM next to that. And on the left side, it's Cooper. Benito is going to get the chip. You're going to get the double for Zach Allen, and that means one-on-ones for Cooper and for JFM. The reason you're able to get this pass rush is because you don't win one-on-ones without JFM. You know, it's Savion Jones would be the next guy up. Exciting for the future. Line him up against Ben Powers. Ben Powers beats him every time. JFM against Ben Powers. JFM, I like his chances. Like, having that guy is what makes the whole thing work.
Count me in.
Cool.
15?
Sure.
I'm down. Let's do it.
And then all of a sudden your defense is back. And then after that, give me a running back, trade for a running back. I want a running back.
Cool. JFM and Bijan Robinson.
Call it an offseason.
Offseason
Super Bowl champs. Dan from Missoula, who's in the bar. Amazing to meet you both on Sunday. DNVR is the best.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
We appreciate you. It was great to meet you as well.
Yeah.
All right. Time to eat my Factor Box.
Yes, time to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be talking about locker cleanout day because we heard from a bunch of guys yesterday. Had to push that, obviously, with the press conferences. Dig deep into that tomorrow, and we'll see you guys then.
God bless Bo Nix.
We all silly like the mayor.